Negotiating the details of the partition was a fraught endeavor. Jinnah wanted all Muslim-majority regions to become Pakistan, though he recognized the reality that many Muslims would remain in India. So he aimed to use non-Muslim minority populations in Punjab and Bengal as leverage to gain protections for Muslim minorities in Hindu-majority provinces. But this method failed, as non-Muslims living in Muslim-majority provinces objected to the prospect of winding up in the same permanent subordination status that motivated their Muslim minority counterparts to seek refuge in Pakistan. In the end, the partition left Jinnah with a Pakistan made of two parts: West Pakistan, located between Afghanistan and India, and East Pakistan, swallowed almost entirely by northeast India, in addition to sharing a small border with Myanmar. Nearly 40% of the region's Muslims ended up in the newly created Dominion of India, and Punjab and Bengal were split. Though Jinnah, who would subsequently become the Governor-General of Pakistan, begrudgingly accepted the compromise, he famously decried that it had resulted in a maimed, mutilated and mother-eaten Pakistan. The bitter struggle leading up to the birth of Pakistan has left a legacy as divided as the subcontinent itself. An unsteady start, the stroke of Mountbatten's pen, triggered the migration of some 15 million people and unleashed a bloodbath. As Hindus and Muslims and Sikhs trekked across new boundaries toward new lives, any prospect of a peaceful transfer of populations was destroyed, and in the months following the partition, at least 500,000 people were killed. Furthermore, for Pakistan, the consequences of the partition would extend far beyond just a tragic loss of life. Almost immediately after independence, hostilities broke out between India and Pakistan over the state of Kashmir, which was led by Hindu ruler Hari Singh. The conflict set the tone for 70 years of political and military friction. Pakistan claimed Kashmir on the basis of its majority Muslim population, likely also prioritizing Pakistan's main river, the Indus, which flowed through the state. India, however, argued that Kashmir belonged with it, since India was based on a secular nationalism accepting of all faiths. Recognizing the futility of direct military action against its more militarily powerful neighbor, Pakistan decided to stake its claim by recruiting tribesmen from its northwest frontier province, today called the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, near Afghanistan, to aid a domestic rebellion in Kashmir's Poonch district on October 22, 1947. Singh looked to India for military reinforcements against the Pakistani attack, and the battle that followed marked the first of three wars between the neighbors and one 1999, so-called mini-war in the Kargil district of Kashmir. The perceived Indian threat compelled Jinnah to empower the one institution who could become capable of handling it: the army. As head of an unelected viceregal system of governance, Jinnah wielded his sweeping powers to advance the imperative of securing a unified Pakistan, which meant developing a national security presence capable of standing up to India. Prioritizing defense over democratization meant that Pakistan's growth during its political adolescence was stunted by a civil-military imbalance. It also happened to occur during the Cold War, when Washington sought an anti-communist ally in Islamabad and granted Pakistan a substantial aid package. The money from the United States subsidized the Pakistani military and ensured its strength, shaping Pakistan's identity. An army with a country prioritizing military might over civilian rights, Pakistan abandoned its first constitution in 1958, only 2 years after it was ratified. At that time, President Iskandar Mirza imposed martial law, then ceded power to his commander-in-chief Gen. Ayub Khan. This sparked 11 years of military rule, the first under Ayub Khan and then under his successor, the unrelated Gen. Yahya Khan. Military dominance led to a major imbalance between Pakistan's center and its various regions, resulting in a 1970 political victory by East Pakistan-based party the Awami League and a subsequent military crackdown by West Pakistan. A civil war and Indian intervention followed the crackdown, and Pakistan was vivisected, with its eastern wing gaining independence as Bangladesh in 1971. In the wake of Bangladesh's independence, Pakistan's political pendulum swung towards civilian rule under Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, but after he was accused of rigging the 1977 elections, Bhutto's army chief Gen. Muhammad Zia-ul-Haq toppled him in a coup. Over the next decade, Zia-ul-Haq's firm rule would have profound consequences. Threatened by Afghanistan's periodic demand for a state of Pashtunistan, the leader instituted an Islamization campaign in Pakistan, meant to paper over the country's ethnic divisions by forging unity through religion. With a boost from the United States, Pakistan trained, armed and funded Mujahideen to defeat the Soviets in the Cold War's final proxy war in Afghanistan. Zia-ul-Haq's death in a mysterious plane crash in 1988 ushered in a fragile era of democracy for Pakistan, which saw the country's two leading politicians, Benazir Bhutto and Nawaz Sharif, serving alternating terms cut short by allegations of corruption and military intervention. But during Sharif's second term in 1999, he fired his army chief Pervez Musharraf, who then took over in a coup on October 12, 1999. Musharraf's tenure coincided with the launch of the U.S. war in Afghanistan in October 2001, which meant Pakistan had to circumscribe its support for the Taliban if it wished to remain a U.S. ally. Musharraf's rule was punctuated by moments of crisis, such as the suspension of the Pakistani constitution that led to his exile. But he also came close to reaching an agreement on the ever-contentious Kashmir issue, though the initiative eventually failed and Kashmir is still a highly unstable region.